Hello, Saints. Welcome to Bible Thump. I'd like to tell you about a dream I had about 2 to 3 years ago. It's a dream that's multi tiered. It had a spiritual meaning, physical meaning, and personal meaning. And I intend to cover the spiritual meaning of the dream at the end of the presentation. I'm going to give you a bit of a background. I had a friend several years ago. She came from the Congo, and she had a child, and her child was 2 at the time. I imagine she's probably about 17 now, maybe older. This will become important later on when I give you the interpretation of this dream. It's also an important note. She's important in the dream, the mother and the child, as it also gives me the location where the dream was. So let me begin. The dream starts, I'm in a forest, and there is a dark presence that I can feel surrounding and following, pursuing. And I walk out into a clearing, and I see my friend's child. And keep in mind that she was 2 the last time I saw her, so this is in no way representative of this person now. But I walk into a clearing, and here is her child. And she's much older. And she's dressed out like a harlot. She's stretched out on a platform, sexualized, and you can sense that spirit around her. So I progressed, and I ask her where her mother is, and she points and tells me her mother is over there. So I go to where her mother was, and it was even more of a clearing, and she was on the top of the hill, and she was in like an open church, and she was getting married. And so, but I had a sense of panic about me because I felt this dark presence coming. And I tell her, it's happening again. It's happening. And a bit of, you can see the concern of what it was. And this happening goes into the physical aspect of this dream. And it has to do that the Rwandan genocide. And so back to the dream. So after I had told her this, I carried on, and people started following me. I eventually came to a small village. Now, the people were still of African background. There seemed to be old Western look about the town, and what I mean by that is that the structures were made out of wood, basic wood. The people were primitive in their lifestyle, and so I told them, it's starting to happen again. It's starting to happen again. But at this point, the people weren't awake. They were carrying on as they would every day. And so I tarried. I moved on. And the dream starts to take a little bit of a turn. But at this point, a lot of people were following me. And I come, and you could feel the presence getting closer and closer and closer. And at this point, my mother and my sister show up in the dream. And I'm going down towards a dock. And there's all these people that have followed me there. But there's a man at the toll booth. And we need to get out of the boat to escape. And so the man says, can you pay? And I'm like, well, for some reason, I had 2 ounces of gold in my pocket. And I gave it to him and I said, is that enough? And I can't recall if it just allowed me and my sister and mother, or how many people allowed to cross over. But at that point, we came to the boats. The boats were kind of strange. The easiest way to explain it, it had 3 pontoon or you had 3 pontoon type boats, or 2 pontoons and a sitting area, but it was shaped as in a triangle. So you had 2 pontoons in the water, and at the peak of the triangle, you had a seating area. But at that point, I got on, and I was the only one on this pontoon boat. And when it took off, it wasn't like it was going across a river. It went down a water slide. And as I was going down, I remember there was so many other people left behind. So I jumped off this boat and I went back, and I started back in the forest again. And I made my way through, and I came to that small village. But this time the people in the village were aware, and they were getting prepared for war. But the weapons or the warfare weren't advanced enough. Just one sec. They were getting ready for war with pitchforks and tools of gardening. So that's where my dream ends. Going back to prepare these people. And here is the spiritual interpretation of this dream. The dream is about the condition of the church. And at the very beginning of the dream, when I spoke about the child and her mother, it was a representation of the generational gap in our faith. And what it represented is that the generation that comes after mine has been seduced into harlotry. That whatever's going on into the church, they've succumbed to the spirit of the harlot. And it is doctrine. It is the things that we've allowed in our lives. It's the things we think that are all right, but we're in church, we believe we're Christians, but we're part of the system. And it's part of the harlot system. And when I reached the mother, that was that the generation prior was getting married. It was prepared for the marriage supper of the Lamb. Now, and then when I continued, the small village, that was the church going about its way, doing its thing, ignoring the danger that was coming. And it, and even with people coming and warning them, they ignored the warning. And so when I continued, there is a remnant that follows and that listens, and they will follow uh, to escape what is coming. And I do not know why at this point that I was the only one on the boat. Um, my father says that the triangle, representing the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit, is the way out. That's the escape. And as this dream continues, me going back to help these people get ready for war, it's that falls into more personal things. But understand that right now, there's a battle for your mind and for your spirit. And it's being waged inside the church. And you need to wake up. You need to see the danger coming and get ready. So, if if God has blessed you with interpreting dreams, and you see something that I haven't seen, you're welcome to share it in the comments. And yeah, God bless. Keep me in your prayers, and we'll talk to you on the interweb. All right, bye.